Welcome to Season 4 of Nowellsblessedadventures. 2020 is here already.
It's our blessed adventure. It's our blessed adventure.
Welcome to Season 4 of Nowellsblessedadventures. 2020 is here already.
Yep, and 2019 flew by. So since it's the beginning of the year, we wanted to reflect back to where our RV life started and kind of just give you guys an overview of how we got started and where we come from. A lot of people go into this cold turkey, but we've kind of been camping for a long time, so we want to just kind of reflect back. We bought our first RV, 1991?
Yes, 1991 we bought our first RV. I'll let him tell you what year.
It was a 1983. What was it, 83?
Yes.
1983 yes. Holiday Rambler, Imperial. I used to see this RV sitting up on a lot where I worked, and I drove by it all the time, and it never moved. So I went up one day and knocked on their door and said, "Hey, you guys think you might be interested in selling this RV?" And they said, maybe, maybe not. And I went home, I told Kim about it, told her what I talked to him, and well, I think we talked to it first before I knocked on the door. And then they called me back later and said, "Hey, yeah, we think we'd sell it." So we bought our first RV, the Holiday Rambler, back in 91 for $3,000.
And you worked on it for several months.
Yeah,
it didn't look like that when we got it. We had to do some.
Yeah, it was in pretty good shape.
But we had to do some restoration.
Yeah,
to it.
we had to. They did not winterize the one tank, so the tank had busted. So I had to install a new tank, and the end caps on the front were busted off. So I fixed those and painted them. And my wife got busy on the interior. What all did you do?
I took down all the curtains and took them to the dry cleaner to see what they would do, and they came out great. Cleaned up real well, of course, scrubbed everything. You put new carpet in.
Put new carpet in, yeah.
It was in very, very good shape, but it still needed some TLC.
Well, then you had to make new front curtains.
A new front curtain, yes.
Yeah. So
I'm sorry, we don't have a picture of the inside.
Yep. And then I think
our children were, our daughter was a baby and our son was 4 or 5. So that's 1991 when we started. And we camped and that's how we took our vacation, starting with RVs.
Yep. So we pretty much, yeah, all our vacations were RV vacations. Weekend getaways, spring breaks. We did our anniversary trips in the RV, and that's how we kind of started out. Actually, our first RV camping trip, I do remember now, a friend of ours let us borrow their RV for the weekend. They went down, they set it up, and we went down and we stayed in the camper for the weekend, and that's when we knew we were hooked.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's a good way also for families to save money, to be able to take vacations or getaways on the weekend, and it's just so good for children. I truly believe that, and adults.
Then we were on vacation. We had done several vacations with that RV, and we were on vacation. And this year we had traveled, I think, down to Tennessee. Where else we go? Tennessee,
Pennsylvania. And
then went to Pennsylvania, up to Hershey, Pennsylvania area. And we were on our way home, and we weren't quite ready to go home. So we was like, where are we going to go before we go home? We still got a few days. So we decided we was going to go to a campground in Ohio called Salt Fork. And so we were on our way. We actually came through Pennsylvania and we got a flat tire on our van. We had a van that we pulled the Holiday Rambler with. We got a flat tire, and I put the spare on, and when I put the spare on, I think the spare ended up being a little low on air on the tire. It was a rear tire, and we headed back out, and we get to West Virginia, just outside of Wheeling, at an area called 3 Mile Hill, and in the Tridelphia area.
Yeah.
And we were headed down 3 Mile Hill, and the back end of the camper starts swaying back and forth. And we're still young, inexperienced somewhat. I mean, we had it for a while, but still not totally, experienced where we are now. And Kim was saying, honey, the trailer's swaying. I was like, I got it, don't worry, we'll slow down. So we started slowing down, and I started patting the brakes, and as I patted the brakes, the camper started going further back and forth. Fishtailing. Yeah.
Excuse me.
Yeah. And if we would have had the knowledge we have now, which we're passing on to you, if you're in a situation, if you get your trailer fishtailing, reach up, squeeze your emergency braking system on your brake controller. That will apply the brakes to the rear of the trailer, and that fishtailing will stop, and the trailer will stay straight. Being that we weren't thinking at that time, and as experienced as we are now, I just tapped the brakes, and then more tapped the brakes, it went further and further. The last time I seen it, the trailer was out to the side of us, and I mean literally almost out to the side. I could look out the window and see the trailer out to the side of us. And when it came back the other way, the trailer and the van rolled, and we rolled 4 times. And as we rolled, the camper broke loose from the van, and it went further down into a ditch, and the van rolled over. And as we were rolling over, as we were rolling over, my daughter flew out the big picture window in the van, and we didn't know it. And so when the van came to rest, I looked over and I looked at Kim. I said, "You okay?" She's like, "Yeah, I think I'm okay." She had got a little cut on her head. There was a center console that broke loose and kind of hit her in the head and gashed her head and opened. I looked back in the back to where my son was sitting. I said, "Michael, you okay?" He's like, "Yeah, Dad, I'm okay." He goes, I think I hurt my leg a little bit.
He was stuffed down behind the seat, my seat.
Yeah, because
I reached my hand back there, and he grabbed my hand.
Yeah, when we landed, we were on the side, and
Yes.
the driver's side was up, the passenger side was down. So I'm looking down at her, and he's on the passenger side in the rear. And he said, "Yeah, I'm okay." And then I turn, I say to where my daughter is, I say, "Amber, are you okay?" And I go, "Amber," and we hear nothing. And then all of a sudden, in a faint noise, I hear, "Daddy, Daddy." And I freak out. I'm thinking, oh my goodness, she's not in the van. And about that time, a truck driver who had seen the accident ran up to the front of us. The windshield was all shattered.
I think we should insert here, we forgot to tell you, this was 1997, so she was 6 at that time.
It was 96. Oh, 97. Yeah, 97. Yeah, so by the time we got it fixed, we've been on the road 5 years, but still not experienced in the long distance stuff. So, yeah. And so the truck driver pulls the windshield out. I unhook my seatbelt, drop down, and go straight out the window. And then the truck driver starts helping my wife and my son out the car. And I run back, and another person who had seen the accident had stopped and picked my daughter up. And what happened is while we were going over and over, when the van went to the side, the big window busted out, and she was sitting on the side where the window was. So when the van went down, busted the window out, and came back up, she just went out the broken window onto the ground, and then the van kept going. Well, thankfully, thank the Lord that she was small enough to go out that window, and then the van keep going, and it didn't crush her or do anything. And so she goes out the window. The person picks her up. I go back, and she's hollering, "Daddy, Daddy!" So I get her, and I look, and her legs scraped up from where she slid on the gravel as it went out the window and glass. And but that was all that was actually wrong with her. She just had some scrapes on her leg. Thank the Lord. And
we should also interject that nothing but the Lord. When we went to get in the van, you know how children kind of have their seats. They had, Michael used to sit by the window all the time, and she sat by the door. That particular time when we were getting in the van, she looked at me and said, "Can I sit in the other seat?"
Yeah, I think that was right after I changed the tire.
Yes, and I thought, I looked at Michael and I'm like, yeah, and I was a little puzzled because she's never ever asked to sit in that seat. And Michael's like, "Oh, that's fine with me." And we were thinking, we know that was nothing but the Lord, because if Michael had been over there, he probably would have got trapped in that window. Being bigger, he was 10. He would have got trapped in the window and probably got smashed as we were rolling over.
Yeah. So we ended up, after the crash, or after that, everybody got out the car. People had called the squads. Seemed like it was forever, but the squads were there in no time.
Yeah.
And then we're getting everything together. And somebody goes, "Is everybody out the vehicle?" And at the same time, I think we all said, "Pepper, our dog."
Yeah.
Our dog was in a crate in the back of the van. And somebody went back in, and she was still in a crate just there, and they opened the door of the crate, and she comes out. And
one of the officers volunteered and took her for us because we all had to go to the hospital. They took her and took good care of her for us for a couple of days.
Yeah. So when we ended up getting all transferred to the hospital, and at the synopsis of that whole trip, we ended up with no vehicle.
Well, we should say the injuries.
Oh.
You had a knot on your shoulder. I had a gash in my head, and I believe they did x-rays on me but didn't see anything. But I know later, because I ended up, once we got home, I had to sit in a chair for like 4 to 6 weeks. I'm pretty sure I broke a rib.
Yeah, at least one, if not two.
Yeah, but that was a blessing. And then Amber, they just had to clean her leg and kept her for a day just to make sure she didn't get infection. So from all that things could have been a whole lot worse.
Yeah, we ended up with no vehicle to drive home because it was totaled. The RV was totaled. So we called my sister and brother-in-law, and they actually brought 2 vehicles, which turned out to be great because it ended up with Kim having her ribs hurting. She was able to ride in one vehicle and stretch out and have room for her and one of the kids. And then our brother-in-law had his truck. And so after we got everything that we could scrounge together out of the back of the semi that they scraped up all our belongings and put it in, and the junk pile of the RV, we had a truckload of stuff that fit in the back of a pickup truck.
Yeah.
So we're going to show you the article that hit the paper and show you what it looked like.
We made this is not the way I want to make front page news, but in West Virginia we made the front page news, and I'll show it to you. That's the name of the paper. And then this was the accident. That's our conversion van that we had. And then that's our RV. And then that's all the workers working on us. And
So that
We just wanted to tell that part of how we came to, we didn't let it discourage us. And
yep, and we ended up, you know, getting right back out there after some time. So I think it was probably, that was in June of what, 07? That was in
July.
June or July of 07. I mean 97, 07, 97. And I think by July of, if I'm not thinking by July of 98, we looked and found a replacement camper, and we ended up purchasing a 1987 Winnebago Brave bunkhouse Class A motorhome.
because I definitely didn't want to tow anything anymore. And to this day, I don't particularly want to tow. That's the only part that does hinder me. I do not particularly want to tow, and I want the heavier part up front, the RV, and tow a vehicle.
Yeah, we discussed it, and that was the decision we came to. So for those of you that have not seen the video of saying goodbye to Betsy, it'll be, let's see, up there or over there somewhere. We're going to insert
The link.
for you to watch the video saying goodbye to Betsy. And that was what the name we ended up naming our 1987 Winnebago Brave that we owned for 25 years. And so that will bring you up to date to from our travel trailer to Betsy. And then now, of course, we're traveling in what we call
Spice.
Spice. That's our 2010 Tiffin Allegro bus, 43 foot. And we'll hopefully insert a video for you to see Spice. So that's where we are now. It's 2020.
And we're going to get you caught up. We're going to get videos going and catch you up to where we are today on this beautiful water.
Yep. We had a nice fishing boat. Let's see if you can still see it.
He moved.
Oh, he's back
There
there
he
in the corner,
is.
still back there.
And you've probably heard the boats speeding by.
So we're in southern Florida, soaking up some sunshine for this winter, and kind of taking a little jeeping hiatus, since there's not really a whole lot of jeeping here in Florida, but a lot of mud, and we don't want to do mud. We've had mud before, so we just wanted to bring you up to date. So stay tuned for more
Nowell's Blessed Adventures, and we thank all of our followers.
Yes, we thank you a lot, and hopefully the videos will be coming at you. Love you guys. We just want to bring you up to date, so stay tuned for more
Nowell's Blessed Adventures, and we thank all of our followers.
Yes, we thank you a lot, and hopefully the videos will be coming at you. Love you guys.